On the 5th year of our marriage, I told Eric I wanted a divorce. All because I gave that job opportunity to her and not to you? He frowned, casually soothing Julia on the other end of the call. Yes, fine. Without even glancing at me, he signed the divorce papers I handed him. What's the point? From college to marriage, we had been each other's first love and anchor. He was convinced I couldn't live without him, but I was exhausted. The job offer was the last chance I gave him. I wasn't short on high-level opportunities. One of the world's top 3 companies had offered me a position, somewhere far beyond his reach. I said yes. From now on, strangers passing on different roads. We owe each other nothing. Chapter 1. All because I gave the job to her and not to you? He stubbed out his cigarette, one hand still holding the phone as he comforted Julia, not even sparing me a look. Honestly, isn't it embarrassing to be making a scene over divorce in front of someone younger? Silently, I slid the papers toward him. Sign it. Eric hung up. Unreadable. How long is the separation this time? My heart turned cold. He lazily lifted his eyes. Selena, you've got no work experience. Without me, you won't survive. I shook my head. Don't forget, I'm a top university graduate too. I have my own path. Whatever. He signed without hesitation. Just don't take too long. My mom's still in the hospital waiting for your care. I didn't answer. I took the papers and turned to leave, only to run into the housekeeper leading Julia in. She wore a sharp business suit and striking red lipstick, looking polished and confident. Boss, I had some ideas about the project you recommended me for. Thought I'd run them by you. Eric raised an eyebrow and looked at me. In the past, every time this happened, I'd kick the woman out and give Eric divorce papers, 99 times in total. Now, it was the 100th time. I was done. Julia's eyes flickered. You're mistaken. Madam, I came to discuss work. It'll probably be a bit dull. Why don't you come in after we're finished? I brushed past her, ready to leave, when I heard her mumble under her breath. Honestly, the madam should be more understanding. She's no help with work, and the boss is already swamped. She's been spoiled. Clearly. I clenched my fists. Then I turned around sharply. And who exactly are you to him? Can't you tell we're discussing private matters? You brought work to our home on a weekend. What's the rush? Someone dying tomorrow? Ever heard of boundaries? Or do your parents teach you to trash talk behind people's backs? Julia bit her lip, eyes filling with tears, and turned to leave with her files. Enough. Eric grabbed her, frowning deeply. Julia's not wrong. She's just sticking up for her boss. Why do you always assume the worst of people? Silence fell over the study. I looked at the two of them still clinging to each other and gave a bitter smile. How dull. Marriage is dull. People, even more so. Staying a minute longer felt like a waste of life. Chapter 2. I stayed over at my best friend's place for the night. At dawn, my phone suddenly buzzed. It was a DM screenshot from Julia. Late night grind. Coffee in hand. Can't let down my dear boss for giving me this opportunity. I mean, what kind of perfect boss stays up working with you till 2 a.m.? I must be the luckiest girl alive. The background was clearly Eric's study. If you looked closely, you could even see the faint reflection of two people sitting shoulder to shoulder reviewing documents together, practically glued to each other. Just then, my best friend rushed over and handed me her phone. It was a message from Eric. Still mad? Come home and I'll show you your new job offer. I couldn't help but laugh coldly. That so-called new job, just another excuse. Another empty gesture. This wasn't the first time he came crawling back to me after spending the night with Julia. Slapped me with one hand, tossed me a rotting candy with the other. But he didn't used to be like this. Back in school, I wanted to compete in a coding competition. He gave up his own slot just so I could enter. When my best friend came out of the shower, she saw me sitting there with red eyes, staring blankly at my phone. Can't let go? I choked, then shook my head. If you still care, just give it a bit more time. So many years together, it's not easy to walk away. And the 100 drawings you made of him, aren't they still? It's done. She blinked. What? 100 times. It's done. I took a deep breath, forcing back my tears. I accepted the offer from that top-tier company in the US. I never really stopped working in investment. I've been managing online projects and funds. With my experience, They offered a great position and high pay. It's a fantastic opportunity. You've made up your mind? But what about Eric? You two were once so in love. I spoke firmly. Yes. We fell in love because we saw each other's light. But after marriage, I lost myself. And love that makes you lose your sense of self doesn't deserve to last. She hugged me tightly, eyes full of pride. If you're clear on it, go for it. But the company gala is tomorrow. Still show up. Don't let Eric sense anything. The next morning, I drove to the venue. I just wanted to kill time somewhere low-key, but ended up overhearing people gossiping about me. I heard Eric's wife is always threatening divorce. I mean, Eric's top tier. Why would he go for such a petty, low-level woman? She probably got him with her body. Seen that kind too many times. Bet you a drink Eric will get tired of her within 6 months and file for divorce. Hey, Eric! The two gossipers fell silent in panic as Eric walked up. One of his rich boyfriends laughed, raising a glass. See? Everyone's betting you'll divorce her. Should I place my bet too? Say, 3 months? Eric glanced at the gossipers, took a casual sip of wine, and replied without looking up. She's just a feisty little thing. Worst case, I sweet talk her a little more at home. Then he sighed, as if the whole thing was a burden. Married women, always fussing over the smallest things. You just gotta pamper them. Another voice chimed in. I've noticed you and Julia have gotten close. She's impressive, and she's actually useful for your career. You sure you're not tempted? Chapter 3. Eric didn't respond. His silence was tacit approval. I turned my back on them, downed the drink in one go, and strode off. My chest burned with fury. On the way to get water, a familiar voice stopped me. Mrs. Eric? I frowned instinctively as I met the glint in the man's eyes. Why are you here? Shouldn't I be thanking you for generously handing over that suburban property? He said mockingly. What are you talking about? That land belongs to Eric. Just as I finished speaking, Julia walked up with her chin raised. I was the one who signed off the deal with Hudson. Is there a problem, madam? Who gave you permission to do that? I snapped. No need to be so rude, madam. It's just a piece of land. If it makes money for the company, why not? Besides, she added with disdain, you don't understand business anyway. Isn't it better for you to just play the housewife? Don't meddle. What if you scare off clients? She shot me a condescending look. Eric would never approve of this. I bet you did it behind his back. I gritted my teeth, trying to keep my composure. So what if I did? Flushed and flustered, Julia snapped back. The boss gave me an executive role. He said he trusted my judgment. Oh, really? I sneered. Then would you dare let him know you sold the land without authorization? Julia, he gave you the right to execute, not the right to sign contracts without upper-level approval. That's illegal, you know? So tell me, how do you plan to fix this? The onlookers immediately started exchanging looks. Suddenly Julia became the laughingstock of the room. She bit her lip, acting like a victim, but tried to keep her composure. You can insult me, but don't discredit my contributions to the company. Just because you're the boss's wife doesn't mean you can bully me. Even if Eric finds out, he'll only praise me for being bold and capable. Check the latest numbers if you don't believe me. So please, stop accusing me. What's going on? Eric arrived just in time to see Julia subtly wiping her tears. His tone darkened. Selena, explain. Expressionless. I looked up at him. She sold the suburban property to Hudson. Did you know that? Julia's face went tense. Boss. I did it for the company. As soon as the madam heard I was making money, she started yelling at me and even threatened to call the police. I understand the madam's lack of experience, but if she apologizes, I'll let it go. I won't lower myself to argue with someone who doesn't understand the industry. The more Eric listened, the deeper his frown. There was even a flicker of panic in his voice. The land thing was an accident. My heart sank. So what, you want me to sweep it under the rug? Afraid she'll be held responsible if this goes public? He pressed his lips together and reached for my hand. Come on, Selena. As her boss, I'll apologize on her behalf. All right? Feel better now? Eric, that land was bought with my father's life. I shook off his hand in disbelief and pointed at Julia. voice cracking. If she doesn't get that land back today, I will make sure she pays for it. That's enough. Eric snapped. It's already signed. Why dwell on the past? I'll pay you whatever the land's worth. Clearly your emotions have been unstable lately. Take the money. Go relax for a while. When you've calmed down, I'll come get you. I froze, stunned. After a long pause, I forced a cold smile. Perfect. Just perfect. Go ahead. Protect her for life. I must have been blind to marry you. I called my best friend. Book the tickets. We're going abroad. As I left, Eric simply sighed and turned to comfort Julia. He didn't even try to stop me. Chapter 4. My best friend drove me out to the cemetery in the outskirts of the city. What? You're just gonna let it go? She rolled up her sleeves, ready to fight. I'm going to rip that woman's mouth right off. Of course not. I yanked her back. Don't forget, that big US tech company wants to break into the Chinese market. What they need is a prime piece of land. I can make that land deal part of my employment conditions. I'll have them buy it back from Hudson. Whether it's the tech firm or Hudson, desperate to partner abroad, they'll both agree. My best friend blinked, stunned. If Eric finds out, he's going to regret everything. But if he begs you, would you forgive him? I fell silent. She shook her head violently. Pfft. That scumbag deserves to stay single for life. I froze when I saw 2 fresh bouquets of roses in front of my parents' tombstone. Forgive him? My father lost everything after a failed investment and was cheated by Hudson over the suburban land. He took his own life to spare my mother and me. What he didn't know was that, once I got into university, debt collectors started chasing me daily. Classmates and teachers avoided me like the plague. She looks so clean-cut, but must have pissed off the wrong people. Yeah, thugs show up at her door every other day. Bet she's been passed around already. Totally. How else could a student like her afford to pay that kind of debt? I kept my head down and walked faster through the crowd, so tightly clenched my nails drew blood without me realizing. Suddenly, someone shoved me from behind. I was about to slam into a rusted window frame. I closed my eyes, ready to embrace death. But in the next second, I fell into someone's warm arms. Eric had caught me. With complete seriousness, he told me, "Don't listen to them. You're amazing." After what happened to my dad, I swore I'd grow stronger. I would be the best at school, at everything, so I could protect my mom and myself. Eric started pestering me every day, claiming that saving my life meant fate had tied us together. So annoying. My quiet life was completely upended. One day, the debt collectors cornered my mom and me, threatening to force repayment with our bodies. Eric suddenly showed up with bodyguards and nearly beat them to death. Stop! I ran in to stop him, panicking. If you kill them, you'll go to prison. It's not worth it. His eyes were bloodshot. They insulted you. That was just a threat. You already saved me, remember? I gently took the bat from his hands. Thankfully, Eric always listened to me. After they were taken away, he collapsed into my arms like a broken puppy, still mumbling, "Even threats aren't okay." Eventually, we got together, from college to marriage, until Julia showed up, constantly popping into Eric's study, and everything changed. She joined the company in our 3rd year of marriage. At first, I thought she was just a clueless fresh grad. After all, which boss doesn't like a hardworking, eager employee? But she started showing up every week, like clockwork, spending entire days alone with him in his study. Anytime I needed Eric for something, she'd jump in with work questions, subtly implying I was immature or didn't understand. That year, on my birthday, we had planned to pick up my mother-in-law and celebrate together. Then Julia tugged Eric's sleeve with a troubled look. "Boss, I still have some work issues I can't figure out. You know how I am if I don't get it resolved. I can't sleep. Can I come too? The more the merrier, right?" Eric smiled. "That's thoughtful of you. Come on, get in the car." "What kind of person does that?" I snapped, slamming my hand on the door. "Julia, tell me, what kind of person tags along during a couple's private birthday dinner for work? You think watching me suffer will help you sleep better? Or are you aiming to take my place?" I shot Eric a look. "What? Of course not." She looked flustered, but when she saw Eric frown, she stiffened and said, I was just trying to help. If the madam feels offended, I can leave. But Eric still let her come along. What are you so upset about? He said cheerfully, buckling my seatbelt. She's not innocent. She just graduated. What kind of bad intentions could she possibly have? Honestly, if you spent more time with her, you'd probably like her too. She works hard, over and over. Eric's blind protection of her slowly made me a stranger in my own marriage. To him, I had become nothing more than the irrational, overly dramatic wife. Chapter 5. I had kicked her out so many times, telling her not to step into my house again, but Julia always started acting, putting on a pitiful show. As if she was so humiliated she had no choice but to leave. Right on cue, Eric would step in to stop me. Selena, that's enough. Julia is one of the core members I brought into the company. Can you stop thinking so lowly of her? This is my house, you don't get to call the shots. That was the first time his words truly hurt me. In a burst of anger, I shoved the divorce papers at him, demanding he sign, but every time Eric lowered his voice to apologize, I'd lose all my resolve. Tear up the papers, and forgive him. Then Julia would appear in the study again. Gradually, I started to feel disgusted with myself. I was truly exhausted. I couldn't forgive anymore. Still, it would be a lie to say I wasn't heartbroken. The love that once burned so fiercely had been snuffed out in an instant. Then, half a month ago, my mother passed away. I couldn't reach Eric by phone, so I went to his office. There, I saw him, going against all opposition, handing over the company's core project to Julia. I tried to barge in, but his assistant stopped me. The boss said any family matters should be handled privately. No one is to interrupt him and Julia's work today. I was firmly escorted out of the building. I took care of all my mother's funeral arrangements alone, then came home after dark to look after my mother-in-law. Even at the funeral, Eric never realized I had gone looking for him. Instead, he blamed me for treating him like an outsider and keeping things from him. At that moment, I felt completely powerless, wings clipped by my own hands. Stuck in a one-sided marriage, what was left of me except a hollowed-out self? My application to purchase land in the suburbs of Beijing had been approved by the corporation. After packing for my trip abroad, I drove to the hospital to brief the caregiver on how to look after my mother-in-law. She had always treated me like her own daughter. Even after divorcing Eric, I would still repay her kindness. But I didn't expect Julia to be there too. She looked at me with a smile. What a coincidence. The boss and I just accompanied mother-in-law for her checkup. And now the madam shows up. No one replied. Then suddenly, Eric took the fruit basket from my hands with practiced ease. And with the other hand, he pulled me down to sit beside him. Are you really leaving? He looked at me with a smile. Come on, we're husband and wife. A little fight, a few days of sulking, and that's it. Julia didn't even hold a grudge. She's been helping take care of your mom. In other words, keep pushing, and you'll be the unreasonable one. I silently pulled my hand away. Eric, we're already divorced. Still holding a grudge. Huh? He shrugged with a helpless smile. Fine. What do I have to do this time to get you to rip up those papers? Just then, my mother-in-law came out from her checkup and waved at me. Selena, you're here. I had just stood up when Julia rushed over and hooked her arm through my mother-in-law's like it was her own mother she was seeing. I'll take care of her. Madam, don't worry. Go enjoy your trip. The boss already explained the entire checkup process to me. Selena's going abroad? My mother-in-law looked at me. You didn't know? Julia faked a look of surprise. Madam caused a big scene at the company's cocktail party. But luckily it didn't cause any real trouble. I even pleaded with the boss for leniency. Officially, it's a vacation, but really it's for reflection. She suddenly stopped, covered her mouth nervously, and turned to me. Oh no, madam, did I say something wrong? Mother-in-law just feels so warm and kind. I must have gotten carried away and blurted things out. You don't mind, do you? Before I could speak, Eric casually patted Julia's head, comforting her gently, unaware of the flicker of affection in his gesture. Don't worry, it's just a small thing, nothing to be upset about. Right, Selena? When he tried to pat me with the same hand, I stood up abruptly and stepped away, nausea churning in my stomach. If you say so, I replied coldly. Finally, my mother-in-law noticed something was wrong. She shot Eric a glare. Selena, It's good you're going abroad. You've spent these years running between home and the hospital, putting your own career on hold. When you come back, do whatever you want, Mom will support you. She looked at me with pride and warmth. Don't listen to this foolish boy. What nonsense about causing a scene. I know how amazing my daughter-in-law is. Do whatever you want, no need for outsiders to talk down to you. Eric frowned but said nothing more. Julia, on the other hand, ran out looking humiliated. I know I'm an outsider. If Madam doesn't like me, just say it directly. Why use mother-in-law to humiliate me? Eric gave me a disapproving glance and quickly ran after her. Chapter 6. Before I could finish explaining things to the caregiver, come out and apologize. Eric grabbed my arm coldly, dragging me away. Selena, you crossed the line today. Or maybe I've spoiled you too much all this time, and now you've become so irrationally jealous. Can't you control yourself in front of Mom? Do you really need to make everyone uncomfortable just to feel satisfied? I yanked my arm out of his grip and rubbed my reddened wrist. I didn't even feel like explaining anymore. In his eyes, I was always the possessive wife, the jealous woman. The hospital hallway fell into a dead silence. Then Julia appeared out of nowhere. There's really nothing going on between the boss and me. Madam stays home all day and doesn't understand how the world works. I don't blame her. But I am a person with dignity. As long as Madam apologizes, I'm willing to let it go. I let out a laugh, utter disbelief. This woman had an impressive talent for twisting facts. Every time someone called her out and she couldn't handle it, she'd play the victim, acting hurt and noble, waiting for Eric to comfort her. Then turn the blame on me. Selena. Eric's tone turned forceful. Julia didn't mean any harm. She didn't even take offense at your sarcastic little show in front of Mom. And you still refuse to be grateful. You know what? Just stay abroad for the full 3 months. Maybe that'll smooth out that nasty temper of yours. I'm canceling your secondary credit card. A bit of hardship might teach you some humility. I met Julia's smug look and gave her a sharp, mocking smile. Do whatever you want. My ride is here. Kindly move. With that, I turned to leave. Not a flicker of emotion in my chest, only a desperate urge to finally be free. But behind me, Eric suddenly sighed and pulled me into his arms from behind. All right. Don't be mad. I was too harsh. His voice softened, as if I was just throwing a harmless tantrum. Don't overthink what Mom said. Just relax while you're abroad. I'll come pick you up when you're back. We'll talk about work later, okay? A chill crept up my spine. I struggled to break free, but he held me tightly. Eric, we're divorced. Have some decency. He froze, then chuckled lowly, like I'd just said something cute. There you go again, saying things out of spite. I know you're just bored at home, so you're picking fights with me. You never wanted a kid before, but once you're back, let's try for one. It'll cheer you up. Yeah? Then he kissed the top of my head. Don't be mad, baby. Yes, Madam. Julia chimed in sweetly, though her eyes burned with resentment. You can go abroad without worries. The boss and mother-in-law will be in good hands with me. She was practically gnashing her teeth, but still pretended to be gentle, secretly throwing me a warning. You'll be replaced soon enough. Eric didn't deny it, seeing that I wasn't struggling anymore. He even smirked, thinking I'd changed my mind, that I'd agreed to have a child with him, that I had torn up the divorce papers and everything was back to normal. Good girl. I'll pick you up when you're back. Let's have a baby together. Chapter 7. He really said that? The plane had just landed in Country M, and not even the roar of turbulence could drown out my best friend's furious voice. Yeah. I curled my lips into a faint smile as I looked out at this unfamiliar land, the closest I'd ever been to the moon. Strangely enough, I felt nothing, only calm. He wanted to trap me with a child in a tiny home, a complete betrayal of the life we had once dreamed of. Do you think I was wrong? My best friend shook her head, her face deadly serious. You were the most brilliant, independent woman I knew before you got with Eric. She seemed to be recalling something. I still remember at your wedding, when you asked Eric why he loved you, he said, because you're like the moon walking through darkness, pure and radiant. He's the one who didn't deserve you. A woman like you belongs on rooftops, not under eaves. She stayed with me in Country M for 3 months. During that time, Eric couldn't reach me and began calling her instead. Selena's throwing a tantrum. Keep an eye on her. Every so often, he'd ask when I never replied. He stopped trying altogether, assuming I was just being jealous. As always, while he was stuck in that mindset, I officially joined a major tech firm, parachuted into a senior role, and landed the S-Plus project they'd failed to secure for 2 years. Shortly after my best friend returned to China, she sent me a rushed audio recording. Eric had finally snapped. "Where's Selena? You went abroad together. Why didn't she come back with you? Where is she? You're the one who sent her away, don't you know?" My friend snapped back. There was a brief silence. Eric's voice trembled, tainted with a fear I'd never heard from him before. "I checked. The system says we're divorced. No further information. Her contact is blocked. You must know where she is. Tell me." Then came a crashing sound, something being thrown. The recording ended. The moment I boarded the plane, I had blocked every contact linked to Eric and changed my number. I'd seen this day coming, just not so soon. She told me Eric pulled every string he had. Even the company gave up. Julia tried to mediate, but he had her thrown out. I was stunned. Then my phone rang. The second I picked up, my best friend exploded. "Selena, you won't believe it. The second you left, Julia practically moved into Eric's place, refused to leave, even stayed overnight. And get this, she pretended to be drunk one night, crawled into Eric's bed, confessed her love, and offered herself. Has she never seen a man before? I mean, gross." Eric warned her, so she dropped the act, started bad-mouthing you openly, calling you useless, saying you don't know how to love. Unlike her, then she pissed off your mother-in-law so badly she collapsed in the hospital. The whole Eric household is a total mess. He even came looking for me again. I cursed him out and sent him packing, but he somehow got your current address. He might already be on a plane to find you. You were planning to go back soon for that land project in the suburbs, right? Maybe you should return now and dodge him. Let him come up empty, and once he gives up, you can apply to go back overseas." Before she could finish, the light before me dimmed. A tall shadow blocked my path. "No need. He's already here." Expressionless, I hung up the phone and looked straight at him. Chapter 8. Eric arrived faster than I expected. With the light behind him, I could only make out his messy hair and the sound of his rushed breathing from having hurried over. Neither of us spoke at first, until the waiter broke the silence with an abrupt question. "Sir, would you like to order something?" Only then did he speak, his voice trembling. "Selena, you're serious about this?" I looked up at him and gave a faint smile. I never joke, especially when it comes to feelings. His tall frame swayed slightly, almost imperceptibly. "All this just because I gave the project to her and not you? Or because I sent you abroad to reflect? Selena, everything I did was for your own good. Do you even have a heart?" His voice rose with emotion, eyes turning red as if he were the one deeply wronged. "All these years, we were the people who trusted each other the most. I knew your family was being chased by debt collectors, and your life was hard. After we got married, I did everything I could to treat you well, even when you made mistakes. When you threw tantrums, I always forgave you, coaxed you, and yet, you divorced me over something so small? Is your heart made of stone? What more do you want from me?" The lights above flickered, just like his emotions, completely out of control. "So that's how you see it." Hearing his selective guilt tripping, I suddenly let out a laugh. He did all that for me? And what about everything I gave up for him? Taking care of his paralyzed mother for 5 years, managing every chore in the household? Eric, I met his stormy eyes directly. "You say I'm cold-hearted? Then fine, I am. We're divorced. You signed the papers yourself, remember?" His whole body trembled, his fists clenched slowly, unable to believe I was really this determined, just as heartlessly as he had once treated me. "I don't deny what you did for me," I said calmly, though my voice carried a sharp edge of sarcasm. "But let's be honest, giving the project to Julia, sending me abroad to reflect, covering for her when she illegally sold the land my father died to secure, one thing after another, can you honestly say any of that was for my sake? You don't trust me?" Eric's face went pale, but facing my cold gaze, he suddenly looked guilty. Funny, these were the very words he once used to accuse me. Now, He couldn't even defend himself. Eric, don't try to play the devoted husband while protecting Julia behind my back. I looked away. Let's just let each other go, for the sake of the years we shared. Don't make this uglier than it has to be. A snap, the street lamp above us went out. The last bit of hope in Eric's eyes vanished just as abruptly. His tall figure swayed violently. He stared at me, eyes bloodshot. You're really going to be this heartless? Chapter 9. I stirred the ice in my glass. The panic on his face was plain as day, yet I felt no sympathy at all. It's not that I'm heartless. It's that you've lost yours. You sit on your moral high horse, accusing me of being petty. Watching me go mad with jealousy over you and Julia felt good, didn't it? Thought I'd never be able to leave you, right? He shook his head desperately, his eyes full of pain and conflict. No, I swear. I truly loved you. I never liked Julia. I never crossed the line. I just found out she's manipulative and calculated. Please, believe me. She's been fired, blacklisted from the entire industry. As long as you come back, I swear, I'll treat you even better than before. He rambled on and on about how much he loved me, but not a word about how he betrayed me or broke our vows. He didn't even know what he'd done wrong, and now he wanted to make it up. Smash! I slammed the glass down, staring at him with an icy gaze. I don't need it. I enunciated every word, then took a deep breath and dropped the truth that left him stunned. When my mom passed away, I came looking for you. You kept asking why I didn't tell you about the funeral. Fine, let me tell you now. When I got the news of her death, I didn't hesitate. I ran to your office. And what did you do? I looked him dead in the eyes. You were talking to Julia about work. You told your assistant I wasn't to interrupt you. You said my issues were insignificant, unimportant. I handled my mother's funeral in complete numbness. And what did you do afterwards? Eric stood frozen, staring at me in disbelief. Not one word of comfort, just blamed me for not telling you, said I didn't care about you. Eric, did you ever really respect me? If that's your idea of loving someone, I want no part of it. My words pierced through him like knives, ripping open old wounds he'd buried deep. I didn't know. Selena. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't disrespect you. His voice trembled as he reached out to grab me. Of course you didn't mean to. I shook him off coldly. You just never saw me as your equal. You treated me like your pet. The day you refused to let me work was the day our marriage tilted. You looked down on me from above, laughed about me with your rich boyfriends behind my back, mocked me in front of others for not being generous enough, and compared me to other women. This is your idea of love? Of respect? You heard that. The color drained from Eric's face. He couldn't bear to imagine what I must have looked like back then. He couldn't even lift his head to face me now. I didn't mean to compare. It's just that she reminded me of you. I cared instinctively. Selena. I love you, only you. I cut him off directly. Maybe you did love me once. I won't deny that. But the man standing here now just wants to cage me like a canary that can't fly away. And the most pathetic part? You said you kept siding with Julia because she reminded you of the woman I used to be. Isn't that ridiculous? I was right in front of you, but you ignored me, and chose to care about a woman who only resembled me. I looked at him for a long moment, and suddenly, everything I had buried in my heart finally fell away. What he loved was the version of me he'd tamed, after draining me of all spark and freedom. So he went and found someone else full of spirit and energy, someone who matched the fantasy he once had of me. He had both the obedient wife and the lively muse. Now that illusion had been shattered, no wonder he couldn't accept it. I glanced at the sky and stood up, ready to leave, but he grabbed my wrist tightly. Don't go, please. I'll change. I don't want a divorce. I felt a drop of something hot fall on the back of my hand. My body stilled for a moment, but I still pulled away without mercy. It wasn't that I couldn't bear to divorce him. It was that I mourned the love that had once burned so fiercely between us. But we were past the point of return. The moon is behind the clouds. Rain's coming. You should leave. I didn't look back, and disappeared into the night. Chapter 10. Eric stubbornly refused to leave. For a long time. Every time I stepped out of my rented apartment, I'd see him leaning under a street lamp, silent, just watching. He'd follow me upstairs without a word, then vanish into the night. I don't know exactly when he stopped coming. When I returned to China to oversee the suburban land project, my best friend came to visit, only to walk into an awkward scene. Julia, dressed in a yellow construction vest, was kneeling on the ground, clinging tightly to Eric's sleeve, begging, "Eric, why won't you accept me? That bitch Selena doesn't even love you. She divorced you. I'm the only one who truly loves you. Shut up. You're not worthy of mentioning her name, let alone judging our relationship." Eric's face was ice cold, but the moment he turned and saw me, he immediately shoved Julia aside in a panic, his expression lighting up. "Selena, you're back." Seeing my indifferent gaze locked on Julia on the ground, he rushed to explain, "Don't get the wrong idea. There's nothing between me and her. I swear. I've been waiting for you this whole time. Selena, seeing you back." "Eric," I interrupted flatly, "I didn't come back for you. Please show some respect." He froze, then seemed to remember something. "Right. The land, of course. I know. This land, it belonged to your father." He shoved an unsigned contract into my hands, fumbling with his words. "Selena, I swear I'll get this land back for you. Trust me." For a second, it felt like we'd gone back in time to when he first chased after me. Awkward, naive, but now, it came with a heavy guilt. Back then, he would wait outside the dorm for me, sleeping in empty classrooms until sunrise, and I would cover for him during scoldings, distracting teachers so he could slip away unnoticed. But those memories were long gone, lost in time. "You smug bitch." Julia suddenly snatched the contract and screamed at me. "You think you've won, don't you? You're nothing but a dumb housewife who can't even read a work contract. You and Eric aren't even in the same world. Only I am truly meant for him. Get lost." Eric's face darkened. "You're nothing compared to Selena. Not even close. Eric, I'm the one who loves you most. I'll tell you the truth. I sold that land on purpose. President Wang said it. You only kept that useless property because Selena manipulated you. I did this to help you. Otherwise, the company would keep losing money over that worthless patch of dirt. Well, now it's gone. Selena, you can forget about ever getting that land back." Eric was shaking with rage. He grabbed her by the throat and threw her nearly 3 meters away. "You disgust me." Watching the chaos unfold, I suddenly laughed. My best friend stepped forward calmly. "The land belongs to the M Nation Tech conglomerate. Selena is the official project lead. So, what exactly were you two arguing about?" At that moment, a tall, well-dressed young man, mixed Chinese and Western, smiled and waved at me. "The HQ meeting's starting. They're waiting for you." Eric turned his head in shock. Even Julia looked stunned. "I've got things to handle. See yourselves out." I walked a few steps before pausing. Turning to HR, I said, "Oh, and remove Julia permanently. She's banned from ever working here again. Don't just hire anyone, she brings bad luck. And that man, keep him off the suburban site. No outsiders allowed." I didn't miss the way Eric's eyes dimmed and trembled. But to me, it no longer mattered. As the suburban towers rose high, the affiliated company of the conglomerate firmly established itself on that piece of land, thriving, and I rose with it. From project leader, to regional general manager, to executive CEO sent directly by headquarters, I had protected the land my father died for, and I had protected myself. The moon slowly rose through the clouds, and nothing could dim her light anymore. This was the best beginning.